Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Horchata. That's right, every year I like to do at least one drink video. And this amazingly refreshing drink's going to be 2017's offering. And by the way, just in case you're from Spain, we're going to be doing the Mexican version, which is rice and almond based, versus the Spanish version, which apparently uses tiger nuts, which to me sounds really dangerous. But anyway, we'll be doing the version that uses rice. And to all the people that request vegan recipes, this counts. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Now first up, we're going to need some rice. But nothing fancy, just 1 cup of regular long grain rice, which we'll toss into our blender. And then to that, we're going to add some whole raw almonds. And by the way, a lot of recipes call for blanching these first and peeling them. But I'm going to skip that step. I think they're fine like this. We will also toss in 1 cinnamon stick, as well as a little touch of sugar. And then last but not least, we will pour in some nice cold fresh water. But not all of it. We're only going to add about half. Otherwise, it's going to fly all over when we try to blend it. So what we'll do is blend this with half and then add the rest later. And then there's basically 2 ways you can do this. You can let this sit and then blend it, or you can blend it and let it sit, which is the way I'm doing it today. And I'll call this version the quick method, since if you do this in the morning, you can drink it in the afternoon. Okay, the other way, you generally need to leave it overnight. And I'm going to talk about that in detail on the blog post. But for now, we'll just go ahead and blend it, pulsing on and off to start. And then I'll let that blend on high for about 30 seconds or so, until we're pretty sure that stuff is chopped up into pretty small pieces. And in case you're wondering, yes, we are going to strain all this later. So don't feel like you have to get this perfectly smooth. And then what we'll do once that's blended up is go ahead and add the rest of our cold fresh water. And then once that's been dumped in, we don't have anything else to do except wait. And the longer the better. Okay, ideally you pop this in the fridge overnight and then strain it the next day. But for the quick version, what we'll do is just let this sit out at room temperature for at least 4 hours, possibly giving it a stir once in a while. And believe it or not, that is pretty much how you make the easy version of horchata. After 4 hours on the countertop, or like I said, overnight in the fridge, all we have left to do before we can drink this is strain it, which I would generally do through 3 or 4 thicknesses of cheesecloth. But this time I wanted to test out a new product I got, which is called a nut milk bag. No, I'm not kidding. This really is called a nut milk bag. Or if you prefer something that sounds even more inappropriate, it's also referred to as a nut milk sack. And what I'll do is place that in this pitcher, and then we'll go ahead and pour in our mixture. And while I will admit this was really easy to use, and is washable and reusable, it didn't quite strain out as much sediment as 3 or 4 layers of cheesecloth would have. And as I said, I'll go into a little more detail on the blog. But the point is, you do need to strain this, otherwise it's going to be way too gritty to enjoy when you drink it. And by the way, if you notice the viscosity, we have something that's pretty thin. Okay, some versions are much thicker, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just not what I'm going for here. Okay, what I want here is what they call at the taqueria, an agua fresca. Okay, so I want something very light and refreshing. But anyway, we'll go ahead and strain that. And that's it. Our horchata is done. And at this point, once it's strained, I normally would pop that pitcher in the fridge to chill it thoroughly. But I'm just going to pretend, because the light was nice and I wanted to finish the video. So I'm going to go ahead and dust the top with a little bit of cinnamon, which is completely unnecessary, but since I was taking pictures, I decided to go for it. Okay, as usual, garnishing is up to you. You are, after all, the Franco Sinatra of your Mexican horchata. And then as you'll notice, besides a glass of ice, I've also pictured this with a ladle. Because every time I've ever ordered this, that's how it's been served. Which I assume is so that any sediment gets mixed in evenly. But if you want, some people like to let all that settle and just pour it out of the pitcher. And you'll get something that's pretty much pure liquid. But if we've let it sit long enough and strained it properly, it really shouldn't make that much of a difference either way. So I'm going to go ahead and ladle some up, so I can go ahead and finish this video by telling you just how refreshing this is. And man, is it refreshing. Okay, it's going to be sweet, but not too sweet. And then there's something about that starchiness from the rice, combining with the nuttiness of the almonds, spiced simply with that cinnamon, that just makes this an extraordinarily delicious and refreshing drink, especially during warm weather. Although this stuff is so good, I would drink it in the middle of a snowstorm. Oh, and if you're wondering why I didn't go with the straw, I prefer to just drink it like this, because if there is any larger pieces of sediment at the bottom, those are going to get sucked up with every sip. So I prefer to enjoy this sans straw. But anyway, that's it. My quick and easy take on horchata. The H is silent, but your guests will not be when they taste just how amazing this is at your next picnic, because of all the compliments you're going to get. So I really do hope you give this a try soon. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.